We all know the movie. We all know the time machine. We know the lightning bolts and the flux capacitor. But that is Hollywood fantasy. This is the reality. The man in that video isn't celebrating a car launch. He is John DeLorean, the most famous executive in Detroit history, and he is toasting to a suitcase filled with $24 million worth of cocaine. The DMC-12 wasn't killed by bad timing. It wasn't killed by a lack of demand. It was killed because the man who built it flew too close to the sun, ran out of money, and made a deal with the devil to keep the lights on. The real story of the DeLorean isn't about traveling through time. It's about doing time. Cocaine, the FBI, and the DMC-12, the real story. Before he was a criminal defendant, John DeLorean was a god. In the 1960s, Detroit executives were boring men in gray suits who went home to their wives at 5 p.m. John was different. He was 6'4", handsome, dated Ursula Andress, and didn't give a damn about corporate rules. And he was a genius. He gave us the Pontiac GTO. He gave us the Firebird. He single-handedly invented the muscle car era. By the early 70s, he was on track to become the president of General Motors. He had the world at his feet. But John had an ego the size of the Chrysler Building. In 1973, he did the unthinkable. He quit GM. He told the press that Detroit didn't know how to build cars anymore. He was going to build his own, an ethical car, a safety car, a car that would last forever. He called it the DMC-12. But building a car company from scratch costs billions. John didn't have billions. He needed a government desperate enough to fund him. He found one in Northern Ireland. It was the height of the Troubles. Bombs were going off in Belfast. Unemployment was skyrocketing. The British government handed DeLorean $100 million of taxpayer money, hoping he would bring jobs and peace. It was a recipe for disaster. A factory built in a war zone, staffed by workers who had never built a car in their lives, led by an American playboy with a savior complex. But the biggest problem wasn't the factory. It was the car itself. Let's be honest, it looked fantastic. Designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, the same guy who penned the Lotus Esprit, the DMC-12 looked like it was doing 100 miles per hour while standing still. The body was brushed stainless steel. No paint, no rust. If you scratched it, you just took a scouring pad and buffed it out. And those gull-wing doors, they were pure theater. John insisted on them. He wanted every owner to feel like a celebrity when they stepped out. But beneath the shiny metal skin, the engineering was a mess. Because of budget cuts and time constraints, the supercar engine was scrapped. Instead, they installed a V6 engine co-developed by Peugeot, Renault, and Volvo. It was the engine used in the Volvo 260 station wagon. It produced, wait for it, 130 horsepower. The car weighed nearly 3,000 pounds. It had the aerodynamics of a brick because of the flat front. 0 to 60 took over 10 seconds. A Volkswagen Rabbit GTI could beat it off the line. You had a car that looked like a spaceship, but drove like a tractor. And the flaws didn't stop there. The stainless steel showed every single fingerprint. The alternator was too weak to power the lights and the AC at the same time. And those fancy doors, if the weather was too hot, the gas struts would fail, trapping you in your own car. By 1982, the reviews were brutal. The money was drying up. The British Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, shut off the cash flow. John DeLorean needed $17 million immediately, or his dream was dead. Desperate men do desperate things. And when the phone rang, John DeLorean didn't ask who was on the other line. He just asked, how much?